what we saw over the last month or so with Bertuzzi, Matthews, and Domi all together, man, they would just pull a rabbit out of a hat. And it didn't always have to go through one guy. They're chaos.
The other thing I want to throw out there is Max Domi is not going to lie down for anybody.
No.
And there's a toughness.
Neither is Tyler Bertuzzi.
So there's a toughness to that line.
I think that's who Matthews needs to play with.
When Domi's on it.
Yeah. That's who Matthews needs to play with. That's, I don't really know if their styles mesh. I mean, they're elite players. They
mean Marner Matthews?
Yeah. They're elite players. They will always pull off magic together over the long run. Mm-hmm. But during these, battles of friggin' attrition, you need a chaotic battering ram of a first line. And when there's enough chaos and enough distraction, Matthews will kill you. He will eat you alive. He's the best goal scorer in the sport. No. Stop saying all these lesser thans. He's the greatest goal scorer in hockey. Mm-hmm. He needs distraction, right?
He needs room.
Tavares is a capable goal scorer, capable board battler. Marner's a really dynamic player, dynamic skater, and you can put them with either one of Nyes or McMahon, and they'll be fine. That'll be a great line. Third line, Holmberg has upped his game, knows how to be a dick. Great job. And then beyond that, you're just figuring it out. You're just, placing role players at that point. Nylander.
Yep.
Should have thrown it there. I was like, wait, who am I missing?
Role player.
Sorry. Outside of, Nylander with Holmberg. And then it's like, take your pick, right? You have the fourth line that plays like a fourth line. Cool. Good. I'm not worried about the fourth line. I don't think that's going to be the come to Jesus savior. Oh, thank goodness for the fourth line. You need a capable fourth line to get through 4 rounds of the playoffs, but that's not exactly what carries you there.
All right.
So then you just need someone who is a positive contributor, whether it's McMahon, Yarncroke.
I think McMahon should have that spot on the second line.
I'm with you.
With JT.
If he's healthy and can skate.
That's the thing. Once we reach Saturday, if he's able to play, I think he deserves that spot over Nyes just based on how they've both played in this calendar year.
I agree with you. And Nyes is more, his game better suits a bottom 6 role at this point in his career.
Yeah. Yeah. And
he'll probably be a first or second line player, but not yet.
Yeah, and the conditioning thing you always bring up with Nyes, like maybe in limited minutes where he could just run around and then lose all of his breath and then go back to the bench is probably the best situation for him, as opposed to like the second line where he has to play some serious minutes. So I hope McMahon is like, fingers crossed, he's healthy for Saturday. Even if he's not 100%, I think like 90% McMahon is still dynamic for that second line.
He's a huge factor.
Mm-hmm. It's and it's going to be one of those things where I think the Leafs are going to have to, like, if you look at the Bruins, David Pastrnak has scored almost 50 more points than the next closest Bruin.
Dude, I can't believe their roster to look at it.
110 points for Pastrnak. Next closest is Marchand with 67. And then the next closest is Charlie Coyle, 60. It has to be 67. Has to be. Now, they have good scoring spread throughout the lineup. Like, I'd say that, a bunch of guys in their 30s and 40s in terms of points is not a bad thing to have. But David Pastrnak, especially against the Leafs, is an absolute weapon and has been for time immemorial. Like when he was a young player.
Well, and these penalties they keep taking.
A lot of hooks, a lot of holds, a lot of I got beat, so I'm going to grab you around the waist. Matthew Nyes, he's got to stop doing it.
Oh, dude, Bertuzzi, the amount of offensive zone penalties this guy takes, brutal.
That goaltender interference thing last
night. And
I'm going to hop behind the goalie.
What are we doing, Tyler? What are we doing?
Like, that was awful stuff by Tyler.
Yeah, if you're getting a piece of a guy in a scrum or whatever, fill your boots. I don't care. There were 2 scrums where the Panthers came out of it with a power play, and I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, it's a league, I guess. But just the hooks, the holds, the trips, the goalie interference in the offensive zone, like those are unforced errors.
Yes, 100%. And these are the types of things that in the playoffs go down but you can bet on the Leafs and the Bruins each game getting 2 to 3 penalties each.
Yep.
And what concerns me is David Pastrnak, his 12 power play goals, and the Leafs' anemic, terrible penalty kill.
It's brutal.
And so it's if you're gonna take a penalty, it better be worth it, because the types of penalties that they are taking, even though they are regular season penalties, and we all know it changes in the playoffs, if you're sitting in the box for something stupid in the offensive zone, like what Bertuzzi did last, it was just a brain fart. Like I'm just shocked that he did it. Or what Domi did the previous game, where it was a hooking right before overtime and against Detroit. Or tripping, whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like stick around place it shouldn't be. That's the kind of shit that's going to kill them against the Bruins. That is the thing of all the things. And I told you, I'm very zen. If I'm worried about anything, if anything keeps me up at night, it's that stuff, because the Bruins will kill you for that. They're known for that.
Win or lose the series. Yep. It'll win or lose the series. And there's going to be a shitload of calls in the first 2-3 games.
And then it'll even out. Like it'll slow down by game 5, 6, 7.
The intensity of hockey ramps up, the infractions ramp up, the rate at which those infractions are called drops dramatically. There's just I don't know how you would ever prove that. I don't know how you would ever get a number for that. What you would need is a stat website willing to track it and qualified officials willing to offer their expertise to the cause. You'd have to be like, that's a call, that's a call, that's a call, that's a call. You'd have to have the regular season evidence to compare to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But like we all know,
it's a feel you get.
It's a feel you get. You just watch lots of attempted murder, and they're already settling into it. You know, Nikita Kucherov just allowed to like shorten guys' careers. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, and so that when we talk about this line and when we talk about this matchup, that part freaks me out. The other part is I've loved how Ilya Samsonov has played second half of this year. I don't know as a Leaf fan how you can't. I'm concerned about Joseph Woll. When he's come back, since he's come back, he's been mad, and it's so bad. And it's not because he's a bad guy. Everybody, I know we're all fans here. It's because his performance hasn't been up to par. I don't know how you don't have Martin Jones as your backup come game 1.
Before this season, how many games did Joseph Woll start in his career?
Oh, God. I think
12?
Yeah, maybe 10 or 12. And then like most of them were in the playoffs last year.
11 regular season games.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think if we're like disappointed in Joseph Woll's play so far, he's not an NHL product yet. This is his first full season as an NHL tandem starter.
But we've seen him play better
games
than
and he
this,
struggled.
He was incredible before he got hurt.
In about like 20 game sample size.
Yeah. Less, I think.
No, and if you add the postseason too, and the beginning of this year, and those 11 games, it's like 20 game sample size. We're like, oh my God, Joseph Woll, established starter. No, it's 20 games.
Yep. Yeah,
it's gonna be a long journey for this kid to really establish himself as an NHL goaltender. And right now, he's struggling.
And who do you?
I think that's fine.
Who do you trust coming in cold though? Martin Jones or Joseph Woll?
Good Lord.
I think Ilya Samsonov.
Well, that's what I mean, though, is if Ilya has a bad game or he gets injured, who do you trust coming in cold?
Oh.
I think it's Ilya Samsonov, and once from there, then you're panicking because those options aren't great.
Oh man,
I gotta say, Martin Jones' numbers this year are pretty good.
Yeah, but when was his last game?
Right.
Even.
That's a good question. I think 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Right now you start Joseph Woll. Like there's not. I don't think it's a debate. He's your backup goalie. He's been starting all these games. Like he's the goalie. He's going to go in there.
Too late now.
So, and fingers crossed nothing happens to Ilya. But
Well, like I mean, if we're panicking based on like recency, like all right, Woll starts game 1 then, and
no, you don't start.
No, that's what I'm saying, because
joke.
Samsonov had like a tough last couple games.
Yeah.
This is your bed, and I think by the time you get to Jones, it's probably too late.
Okay.
Right.